This is Blender. I'm gonna make a super fast scenic scene, a scene in Blender. Trees, mountains, let's go. General, I'm gonna go ahead and hide my light and hide my camera. I think it makes life easier. And we're gonna keep the original cube, but I'm gonna make this a 5 for the scale for X, a 5 for the scale for Y, and a 0.4 for the scale for Z. Make sure you do object, apply, scale. Alright, and you can see down here this stuff, but that's great. Object apply scale. I'm going to now head over to edit mode, and in edit mode, I'm going to click on loop cut and click, and we want about 6 of these. You'll see why in just a moment. And I'm going to click here, and once again, I'm going to do about 6. That's looking good to me. So let's go into object mode. At this point, we're going to apply a modifier. So I'm going to head over here to modifiers, add modifier, and we need displace. With the displace modifier, we need a texture. So now it looks really funny, so I'm going to go edit that texture. And I don't want image and movie. We're actually going to use the cloud texture for what we need. Okay, that's looking better. It's looking like some rocky ground. I'm headed back over to our modifiers, and I'm going to, let's try 1.5 maybe. Yeah, I'm liking this. It's a bit more dramatic. Makes a rocky looking area for a mountain. So that's perfect. All right, so now we can go ahead and add mesh, and we are going to use a cone. There it is, a cone for a mountain, which makes sense. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead while I'm doing this. I'm gonna hide the cube. All right, for the mountain, let's go from object mode to edit mode, and I'm gonna first expand the base. So I need to select face select, and this guy, click. There we are. I'm on that face, and now something along these lines. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 2.2 for the mountain all the way across, and I am liking that. I'm gonna head over into vertex mode and use select again, because I'm gonna grab the top of our mountain here and pull to kind of give it the height that a mountain would have. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look above, face select, select. I'm just going to go, and with all of them selected, what we need is face, inset face, and I'm going to pull in. Okay, let's double check where I'm at. That is looking pretty good. I'm going to do actually a 1.5, and then I want to click on X again, because now I'm going to do a face, inset faces, and even smaller. This will allow us to do additional detailing of the mountain. 0.6, let's try. Oops, wrong way. 0.8, 1 maybe. 1's looking good. And there we are. So what we can do now, I'm going to go ahead and use these circles. So let me click on edge mode, and I'm going to click on one of these. Well, what I can actually do now is do select, oops, make sure you've clicked on one, select loops, edge loop, and I'm going to scale it. So just like that. I can squeeze our mountain in some, right, or out some. I'm going to do a 0.95 here. And then I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to select part of that loop edge, and then select loops, edge. And then for this one, I will resize it a bit. As the mountain gets towards the top, it would have a peak. 0.85 is great. And then I'm also going to off-center it, because mountains aren't these perfect things, right? They're out of nature. So I'm going to bring this part of it maybe over here by, sure, 0.06, and I'm liking this. So now we need to continue to kind of rough up our mountain. To do that, I'm going to hit select. Oh, let me do. And now it's select random, and random amounts, well, of lines are going to be selected. I'm going to do 30 actually. And what I will do now is scale, and now that's a lot to scale, but if I do 1.01 and then we'll say 1, we're randomly changing the size of just some lines. It throws off the proportions. It gives it a more realistic look. Now let's go ahead and do face select. I'm going to click off everything. I'm going to do select, random. And now for this one, let's go ahead and use rotate. And I'm not even sure. Let's try that, which is way too much. So I rotated on the Z. Let's do 0.5. Okay. And now let's try rotating it on the X. And again, way too much. Let's try 1. And you're going to start to see a change in the shape and look of your mountain. All right. Now let's do scale on these guys and do boop. I'm going to make this uneven. I'm going to do 1.05. Then I'm going to do 1.02. And then I'm going to do 1. And this is going to throw off the shape. Actually, let's do 1.06. It throws off the entire shape of the mountain, which is what we want. We want it to look more natural. So I'm going to do that again. Select random. This time I'm going to just grab the move tool and I'll say, and let's do 0.1. Okay, all we're doing is creating randomness, creating chaos, I guess. Select random, and this time I'm going to scale, but I'm only going to scale, no, let's only scale on the Y. And so I'm going to do 1.08 for the Y, okay? And very quickly, you'll start to see how a mountain becomes a mountain. Just for fun, let's go over to vertex. Let's do a select random. And I'm going to turn that down to 15. So I got random 15 vertexes, okay? And what I'll do with these guys is, let's go ahead, instead of the Y, let's move them over on the X by 0.05 and the Z by 0.02. Something minor, but something that will give it, again, randomness is the key. So I'm really liking our mountain at this point. Okay, and what that means is I'm going to head back into object mode and put the ground back on. So cube, bada. All right, let's zoom way out so we can see everything. Hit move. I'm going to pull our mountain up. Yeah, we could go over, let's go up 1.5. It might be easier for me to use it this way. So 1.5, and this is kind of a rougher area over here. Let's take a look. Aha. So I'm going to just kind of drag it that way. Boom and boom. So probably we'll just do -2 and 2. And that is looking good for me. And it's under, oh, maybe not 1.5, maybe 1.2. Just to make sure, 1.3. The edges are under. So that's looking great. Now let's go ahead and add some trees. I'm going to pull my mountain up just a bit, just to give it that depth. So let's do, I'm going to do a 1.1 increase in scale for it all. All right, now a tree. So let's go ahead, hide, and oops, hide. And then we're going to add mesh cone. Boom. And now what I'm going to do with this cone, it definitely doesn't need to be that. Let's do 12 vertices maybe. That will be plenty because we're going to have several of these. Okay. For the scale, the Z we want to be less for it to look almost like a Christmas tree style, like around Mountains Wood, right? And so I have this, and I'm going to go ahead now and do object, duplicate, and I'm going to pull up. Okay. I'm going to want the Z and the Y to be 0. I mean, not the Z can be more. You could click Z on your keyboard while pulling up, and it will keep it in place. I'm going to have Z be 1. Let's take a look at how we're doing here. That is looking great. And so now for scale, I'm going to go zoop and zoop. Okay, I'm going to give it a bit of height. This is going to actually be the top of it is what I'm thinking. So there we are in terms of scale. If you look over here, for Z I did 0.85, for Y 0.8, and then that means for X I'm going to need to do 0.8 to keep those even. Great. And then let's go ahead and grab this guy and do a object duplicate objects, there it is. And I'm gonna hit Z on my keyboard so I can pull right down. Here we are. And I'm down -1. Sounds good. Okay. And then I need to increase this time. And sure, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Great. Let's move this down a bit more. Okay, so right now I'm right here at, let's do -2.5. That's looking good. I'm actually now going to click on this guy, and we're gonna bring it right about there. Okay, and then I need to scale it. So, X scale will be 1.1, Y scale will be 1.1, Z scale will be 1.3. It's going to be the center of ours. Okay, I'm just going to move it down, move it up a bit, right here. So that's looking like a -0.6 for me. And now let me go ahead and click on this, and I'm going to move this up a bit, and that will be a -2.2. All right, that is looking great for our tree. So the one other thing we're going to want to do on this is add color, of course. Let me click on, let's go into edit mode, face, inset face. We need to add a, edit undo on that. All right, I just want this face. And then we're going to do face, inset face, right there. So 0.8 is what's looking all right to me. Maybe a 0.85. That's looking awesome. All right, so then I'm gonna do face, extrude faces, and sure, a 1 or a 1.2 if we want to be safe. And now let's go ahead and color this tree because we're gonna be using this tree a lot. Okay. Now to add color to it, I'm gonna go into, let's add select all. Okay. Oops, and I forgot. Back into object mode, we want to use our select tool, all of this. We're going to do object join right here. Now that it's joined, I'm going to go back into edit mode. I'm going to go into material, and let's give it a nice green color. Select all, green color, and something like that, I'm thinking. And let's switch into this. Assign. Yeah, that's looking great. And then for the base of it, I'm going to hit plus, new. And then for brown base color, hex, I like 654321. It's my favorite hex code for a color. I'm actually going to make it a bit darker, something like this. Okay. And what I'm going to do with that, let me go over here to my select tool. And I'm going to go ahead and select all of this. And then let me make sure, right? And then I'm going to hold shift and select all of this. One more, I'm holding shift and select. And now let's go ahead and assign it that color. I might even increase the roughness on this to make it less shiny. All right, there's my tree. All right, let's go back into object mode and let's put some of this together. So we got that. I'm going to lift this tree up. And our tree's definitely too big, and our ground needs color. So let me click on the ground first, and let's give it a nice, it's going to be like a cartoony grass color. Okay, I do want it a bit lighter. Great. And then for roughness, let's do 0.5. And then metallic, I was actually going to do a 0.2 maybe, or yeah, see how it has a, yeah, I love how the light hits when it's more of a metallic color. I'm going to keep it at 0.6, personal preference there, and it makes it a bit different, a bit shiny. But again, this is more of a, this would be a cartoon look. All right, now our mountain over here. Well, that one's pretty easy. We need to click new material, new, all right? And I could pick a color, honestly, depending on what you're thinking. You might find a gray somewhere in here. I don't know, how gray is that? Boom. that you are... Oh, is that... I should mention I'm red-green colorblind. That might be the color white. Oh, no, it's slightly different. Okay. So let's try, I don't know, that one. And that's looking pretty good for a mountain to me. All right, I'm going to head into edit mode real fast. I'm going to put on see-through. And this way, I can grab the entire top. Because, of course, the top of our mountain, that worked well, has snow on it. So, new and some snow. I'm going to make snow very reflective, so 0.3 maybe. And then I want it a little bit off from white. Not much, but it would look too perfect if it was perfect white. And assign. Let's go back into regular viewing mode. Boop. And yep, liking that. All right, back into object mode. So we got some colors here. Now I'm gonna click on my tree and object, apply, scale. The reason I'm doing that right now is because we're gonna make it real small. Let's do 0.1, 0.1, and 0.1. And let's see if I like this. In comparison to a mountain, that's looking pretty good. Gonna drag this right there. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, I actually like that comparison to a mountain. I might actually do this though for my mountain. Maybe 1.25 for X, 1.25 for Y. Give it a bit more heft, and 1.25 for Z. Pull it out a bit, 1.4. Okay, and now the tree. So I got one. Oops. I'm gonna just undo that accidental move and go to select. I got one, which is a start. Okay, now I'm gonna go object, duplicate, and just shoop. Okay, let's go ahead and click on X, and I'm gonna. It's hard to see properly. All right, and now selecting both, and now we got other stuff. So I'm gonna do 1, hold shift, 2, and object. We're just gonna do a duplicate. Okay, and now I'm just gonna scale it some, just so they're a bit different. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is go off 1, 2, 3, 4. Object, duplicate objects. And again, this time I will grab this red one and scale it on X. Let's do 0.99, and I'm gonna do 1.12. All right, just something to make them a bit different. And now I'm gonna use this again. Let's go ahead and hide our mountain and our ground. Just while I'm copying, makes my life easier. Object, duplicate objects. I'm gonna hit X so they stay here. Boom, okay. And select object, duplicate linked object, duplicate objects, and let me hit X. Boom. All right, this is looking great. So now let's bring back, boom, and cube. Zoom out. I'm gonna go ahead and move all of these guys so I can see them. And then I'm gonna start positioning these trees around. And then once you're all done, ta-da, you have this fun, cute mountain scene. And you can easily see how you could add cottages and things of that nature to it and really start building upon it to create a whole world of possibilities. If you're still watching, if you thought this was useful, make sure to hit like, make sure to hit subscribe. It gives me warm fuzzies. And yeah, I hope you made something really cool.